Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to EXPU Lab. I'm Bryon Ellington, Chief Learning Officer for eXp Realty, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Tristan Adams in the greater Atlanta area. Tristan, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Bryon.
All right, Tristan, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. All right, I always start this off the same way. Can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so whenever I turned 15, I knew that I wanted to have my own job. So I started working at Chick-fil-A. I worked there for 6.5 years and went up through the system. And I was going to be on track to own my own Chick-fil-A, but you have to go through this program and you can only own one. So you can only own one business and you can't do anything else. No side hustles, nothing. You have to all your energy is in Chick-fil-A and you have to operate under their brand. So there's not much leeway on what you can do to the business. And that kind of turned me off because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but it's my own extent, do whatever I wanted. And then your income is capped. He made $400,000 a year, which is awesome. But I was just willing to make a bet that I could probably make more than that. And so once I realized I did not want to be at Chick-fil-A, I was like, all right, well, I got to go find something that pays me more because Chick-fil-A doesn't pay great unless you do go and own your own. And so I started selling jewelry. And so I sold jewelry on Jim's Shopping Network for about 1.5 years or so. And
how old were you?
Man, that was 2 years. I was probably 21 selling jewelry. Okay. And so I was working 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. And so I was pretty much selling to the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast and they're 3 hours behind me. And I liked sales, but I didn't we buy the ring for $50 and sell it for $5,000. And then the older women that are buying it, they're I don't know how I'm going to eat tomorrow, but sure, go ahead and get the $5,000 ring. It's it was a very hard sell and you feel bad for selling it to them. So, but I did realize I liked, customer service. I liked sales and real estate was perfect. And I was done with my job. I was so depressed and I was I got to do something else, got to find a way out. And I had purchased a real estate course the year prior and it had 30 days before it expired. And so I was all right, well, I'm going to finish the course because I already paid for it. So I finished the course and then it was all right, well, I might as well take the test. And I took the test and passed it. And I was well, I might as well join a brokerage. And then I did that and I was well, these fees are kind of high. So I might as well, try to sell a house. And then I quickly realized holy crap, I'm slowly getting pretty good at this. And then eventually saved up enough money to just quit my job and go full-time real estate. And that was April 7th this year.
April 7th of this year. When did you get licensed?
August 7th of 2023.
So we're a little over 1 year after getting licensed and certainly a lot less than that. 7 months now into going full time. How's it going?
Phenomenal. I mean, it is honestly great. I started at Keller Williams and it was pretty good. I learned the foundation and stuff. And then I got to the point where I was I want to learn some more. So I reached out to my broker and said, hey, I feel I'm figuring this out. What can I do? And she's you got to cold call more and door knock more. And I was I am. I was what else? And she's you got to cold call more and door knock more. And I was I am. What tactically can I do? And she's well, let's do this. I have an hour-long slot 2 weeks from now, and I would love to put you on it. And I was 2 weeks and for 1 hour? Are you kidding? No. So I was done. And so I had all these brokerages reaching out to me because I had 5 on the market at the time. I guess it's their algorithm or whatever. And then eventually a mentor, or now my mentor, EXP, reached out. And she was the only person that did not talk about EXP or her brokerage. She was just there to help me. And that's it, just helping me. She was helping me with all the questions that I was going to ask my broker. And I was dude, I'm in. So I actually called her and I was hey, so tell me about EXP. How does all this work? Blah, blah, blah. And so then I joined EXP. And in the last 90 days, my business is 3X, 4X, just because of the way I see it is imagine I had square wheels and I was I was going to make it happen no matter what. But all she did was just round the wheels. And now it's efficient.
That's awesome. Now, you and I were talking, and how many listings have you taken in the last year?
Now 23. I got one on Friday. So I've taken 23 listings in the last year.
That's awesome. And question for you, are those coming from different variety of lead sources? Are you buying those leads? How are you generating those listing leads?
No. So no one my age is old enough to buy or let alone sell a house. So my database was absolutely zero. And the only way to build my database was to either get leads or pay for them. And I did not have any money to pay for them. So I was looking for a free lead source, but I also wanted motivated sellers because I needed to make money now. And FSBOs for sale by owners were perfect because they already raised their hand. They're like, I'm going to sell my house, but I can do it by myself without you. And so then I was like, everyone says to call FSBOs, so I'll just call FSBOs. And I sucked. Like I sucked. I genuinely believe like my first 3 deals, God just felt bad for me. He's like, yo, just take these. And so then I took those, and I've pretty much built my whole business on FSBOs.
Okay. And how frequently are you calling FSBOs?
Every day, Monday through Friday, 2 hours a day.
Okay. 2 hours a day you're calling. Is that expired FSBOs withdrawals, or is that just FSBOs?
FSBOs. Just FSBOs.
Just FSBOs. So you're specializing in this. And when you think about like who you're going to call tomorrow, are you, by the way, when are you making these calls?
8 in the morning to 9, I call new people that I have not called. And then 9 in the morning to 10, I call people that I've already called, and I provide another piece of value, or I set an appointment, or I follow up with them, or I suggest something new.
Okay. And when are you creating the list for the people that you're going to call 8 to 9?
Oh, I just go to Zillow, zoom out 9 times, and then on the right side it has the new for sale by owners, and just go crazy. I mean,
so you're doing that right before the 8 a.m. Mark. You're getting your list that morning up.
Yeah. I mean, probably like 7:58. It only takes like 2 minutes to populate that list, and then I'm ready to dial by 8 o'clock. And then I have a piece of paper that is like my CRM that I just write all my numbers and addresses on, so that the 9 to 10 hour, I know who to call.
Okay. All right, great. So is that to say you're not yet using a CRM?
So I actually just got into KV Core, and KV Core is awesome. I had the KV Core team actually import all of my contacts that were on my phone, because this was my CRM, into KV Core. They did it all for me. Super awesome. And so that's something I plan on doing probably in the next week or so. It just seems like a really large, daunting task to spend that much time setting it up properly, but it's going to be worth it when I do.
Do you get that kind of, no, but what do you really want kind of question, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, look, if you wanted to list it, you would have already listed it. And if you already are going to list it, you probably already have someone else in mind. And that's perfectly fine. And I would never say no to business either. I'm not completely stupid. Obviously, this does position me to list it if you get to that point, but I really am here to help. And then I tell them about a story. Like, I've helped 2 or 3 other FSBOs sell their house at full list price, and I was not involved. I did not get a commission, and I was excited for them. I'm literally happy to help. Whether you use me, you use another agent, or you sell by yourself, I'm just here to help.
And how many appointments would you say you keep on a weekly basis?
Oh, it probably 9. Only one will just cancel, for whatever reason can't do it, or I don't want an agent to preview without an actual buyer. Probably 9.
Okay. And then roughly how many of those 9, in a given month, so we're talking somewhere around 36, 40 appointments, how many of those are going to convert to an active listing with you, would you guess?
4 or 5 a month. Maybe.
4 or 5 a month.
Yeah. I mean, since being with EXP the last 90 days, that's what the math ends up being, about 4 or 5 a month. Because I've tried the new method of just help, and no more hey, can I sell? Hey, can I? Yeah.
Okay. So by the math, then it sounds like we're converting about 40% of our conversations to an appointment, and then about 10% of those appointments are going to convert to an active client. Is that rough?
That sounds very close. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't feel bad about saying that and meaning it. It'd be really close, give or take some percentage points. Yeah.
Yeah. But it gives you a kind of an expectation setting look at what the numbers of this truly look like. Right. And you even said it too. You've been doing this now for about a year. And so your skill level does get better. I'm assuming too, you're probably absorbing as much information as you possibly can as you go through. By the way, where are you learning? What are your sources for learning your scripts and your techniques? Are you continually kind of going, or did you just kind of learn something in the beginning and then just figure it all out?
Books. I read a ton of books, or I listen to them in the car. I don't listen to music. I just listen to books or podcasts, or my mentor. I'll just ask them random questions. about different stuff. I don't script practice, never have. Oh, I guess I script practice on clients that I'm calling, but I don't like role play with someone else, right? I just come up with it on the fly. If I hear something I never heard of, I'll just say, hey, no one's ever told me this objection. I'll just tell them objection. And then I was like, this is interesting to me. I don't know how to respond. And then I'll get right back into it and say something else. It's pretty authentic. I like the approach. Books, podcasts, probably the biggest. Mentor. I mean, those are the three biggest.
Any parting advice to folks who are considering FSBOs or just getting into FSBOs?
Yeah, you just got to call. You will suck. Like, you're not going to be good, and it's going to be awful, and you're going to trip up on your words. You're probably going to hang up on them because you felt like you just said something awkward, and you probably did, and I did too. I suggest calling other states first. Like, I live in Georgia. I called Michigan and Minnesota for some odd reason because I feel like I'd rather fail over there than fail in Georgia, and them just so happen to know me. Like, but yeah, you're just going to suck, and it's going to take way longer than you think for you to actually be halfway decent, and then even longer than that to be good, and then even longer than that to really master it. So it took 4 months to not suck, like just not suck, and then it took 4 more months to like be good enough to like slowly pick up listings more often, and then it wasn't until August or September of this year that I really started to kill it. And so that's like 14, 15 months in of consistently calling FSBOs every single day. And so it's like you're never going to be a professional soccer player on your first practice session. It's going to take years and years and years. And that's how prospecting is.
Any parting advice to folks who are considering FSBOs or just getting into FSBOs?
Yeah, you just got to call. You will suck. Like, you're not going to be good, and it's going to be awful, and you're going to trip up on your words. You're probably going to hang up on them because you felt like you just said something awkward, and you probably did, and I did too. I suggest calling other states first. Like, I live in Georgia. I called Michigan and Minnesota for some odd reason because I feel like I'd rather fail over there than fail in Georgia, and them just so happen to know me. Like, but yeah, you're just going to suck, and it's going to take way longer than you think for you to actually be halfway decent, and then even longer than that to be good, and then even longer than that to really master it. So it took 4 months to not suck, like just not suck, and then it took 4 more months to like be good enough to like slowly pick up listings more often, and then it wasn't until August or September of this year that I really started to kill it. And so that's like 14, 15 months in of consistently calling FSBOs every single day. And so it's like you're never going to be a professional soccer player on your first practice session. It's going to take years and years and years. And that's how prospecting is.
Yeah, it is definitely not a one-for-one effort, right? We talk in FastCap about the plateau of latent potential, right? Most of us want our success to look like this, where the axis is one phone call equals one deal, and two phone calls equals two deals. That's not how it looks, right? It's more of a hockey curve stick where initially hundreds of phone calls could end up in nothing until it takes, and then it goes, and then it really can go as it has in yours. So that's awesome, and congratulations to you on the success. And by the way, thanks for coming on and sharing some of your hard-won wisdom with us. We really appreciate it. I can't wait to see what kind of a beast you're going to turn out to with another year under your belt, man. That's incredible. Yeah,
I would actually like to say one more thing to those people. Whenever I first joined, I was watching all these other realtors like kill it, and they said they're taking 4 or 5 listings a month and closing. Like, I actually thought that was impossible. So I would like click off. And I was like, oh, that's a scam. They're trying to sell me a course because like that's actually not possible. Like, there's no way that they're doing that. And so I would just encourage, like, yeah, you're going to suck, but like eventually you could end up being that person. And like now I'm starting to live it, and it feels like weird because I really do that. And I used to completely click off the video because I thought that was impossible. But yeah, I appreciate it, Bryon. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Well, I'm only awesome because I get to hang out with people like you who figured it out and are willing to share. So thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And until next time, this has been Tristan Adams in the greater Atlanta area with EXP. And I'm Bryon Ellington, EXP Realty Chief Learning Officer. Thanks for tuning in.